The cool and rainy days of winter are perfect for a day of relaxation and rejuvenation. Simple rituals of slowing down, self-care, and a warm cup of tea nourish the body and the soul. Come along as I'm sharing simple ways to feel refreshed and recharged. I like to start my morning with a walk. Typically, I walk for about 20 to 30 minutes. And if you live in an urban environment or suburban environment and you own a dog, you know what I'm talking about. I simply bring my rain jacket, a umbrella, and I have some really good rain boots because, as you can see, we have been getting a lot of rain and we need it. And there's no wrong weather, there's just the wrong clothing. Also, this early morning walk just refreshes my mind and sets the day off to a good tone. Toweling off my wet dog after the walk, she actually likes that. She enjoys this moment of a little massage and self-care for her as we enter the house. Now, after my morning cup of coffee today, I am saving the coffee grounds. I love to be really frugal and try to give everything another life if I don't have to throw it out. And today I'm saving the coffee grounds for later, which you will see later in this video. They are a little bit on the coarse side. Sometimes I like to add them to the compost or directly to the flower beds. You want to be careful about how much you add to the flower beds at any one time. However, spent used coffee grounds are not quite as potent as coffee grounds that haven't been used. So you can probably go a little bit heavier than you think you might. Once I come back from my horse barn, I add some granulated cane sugar to a bowl. And here are my drained and spent coffee grounds that I will mix up for a coffee scrub. I put them in a colander so that they can drain and get really dry, or as dry as possible. And then I'm adding some melted coconut oil over them. Coconut oil is really good for skincare. It's very moisturizing, but it's also a little bit antifungal and antibacterial. I told you that I was at the horse barn, and in this season, this is late February, there's a lot of stinging nettles, and nobody likes them except for me, and I love to pick them. I think I went a little bit overboard here because I picked a whole bag of, what was it? I think it was for the carrots for the horse, and I used that. Now, because they grow close to the soil and because it had been raining and splattering, there's a lot of soil and just dirt on them. That's why they need a really good washing, and I do that in my salad spinner with my gloves on because yes, if they're fresh, they are still stinging and can really irritate the skin, even though they're not harmful or toxic, but just doesn't feel good when you touch them. Those little hairs that can sting your skin. I'm just using gloves to shake them around, and then I drain them. I could have used the water for watering some plants, but I wanted to keep the video going for you guys. And then I don't typically spin any salad here on my sink, but I did that because otherwise I would have had to move the camera, and I just wanted to be practical. I'm spinning out most of the moisture that I can and collect the stinging nettles in a big bowl. In my bathroom, I'm ready for my self-care ritual starting here. I have a clay face scrub, if you will. The coffee grounds would be a little bit too harsh and too coarse for the sensitive skin in your face. That's why I like to use something that's clay-based. It has some oats in it and some almonds, and clay is just really wonderfully detoxifying and clarifying for the skin. And before I do anything else, I am just giving my face a good cleansing and just slowing down and just taking care of myself here. Some extra me time is just really so relaxing. Washing it off before I move on to the next step here. I'm gonna just dry my face, and I do this before I hop in the shower because as you will see now, I have a Dr. Hauschka rejuvenating mask, and I don't do this all the time, and Dr. Hauschka products tend to be a little bit on the pricey side. However, I love all their scents. Of course, I'm German, so I'm a little bit biased about these products. I will leave a link below if you're interested in what they do. This face mask will stay on in the shower, and it has the added benefit of being me in the shower with the steam. Typically, what I do before I hop in the shower is I do a self-massage with a ionic body brush that has copper bristles, which is really good for lymph flow and detoxifying and just overall a sense of invigorating. But today I am going to use my coffee scrub, which I'm going to show you now. Obviously, I can't show you the whole thing because I would have had to take the camera into the shower, but I'm going to show you here on my foot and feet. Need a lot of self-care and TLC because we walk and use them and stand on them all day long. And the combination of the oils and the scrubbiness of the coffee grounds and the sugar is just really nicely exfoliating, and I'm going to use them on the rougher skin on my feet. And be careful in the shower because it can be slippery with all the oils. Once I'm done in the shower, I did my whole body. I spritz a little bit of just simple rose water on my face. And right after that, I am using a 100% pure, first I get the lip balm here. That's also a Dr. Hauschka. Oftentimes I make my own, but this is the 100% pure. I forget what it's called. I'm also going to leave a link in the description box, but it's a really good moisturizer, and I like to hop between various facial products and rub that in while my skin is just still moist from the face spritz. Back in the kitchen, I am heating water in a kettle. I actually love using this old-fashioned kettle on our gas stove. It heats water really quickly and no need for anything electric. I have this little tea strainer, and did you know the Nettles make excellent tea? Of course, I can still not touch them because there's all the stinging nettles on it, the stinging hairs, so I'm just going to use some scissors. You can touch the larger stems. There's also a way to touch stinging nettles if you go with the direction of the hairs. I'm not going to try that, but I'm just going to put some of these nicer, younger, greener tips into this tea strainer. And this tea is very healthy and has a lot of vitamins. What I also love, if I don't make nettle tea, is Farmhouse Tea's one of the tea blends. This is the Farmer's Wife Raspberry Tea, and when you look at it, the first ingredient actually is nettle. I'm also going to leave a link for you if you're interested in that. I often don't use boiling water. I just use very, very hot water to steep my tea because that's really all that's needed. And here I am on the couch. I love to enjoy my cup of tea with dreaming about summer, looking at a seed catalog with all the nice plants that they have. And this is just so nice to take a breath. It's like a long exhale in a society where there's so much importance placed on getting stuff done and being productive and having something to show for achievements. And if somebody asked you, what did you do today? And you said nothing, I think you would get a lot of weird looks. I myself have to be very careful because it's so easy to get into this habit of always needing to do something or feeling that you have to do something and be productive and have some results versus just taking care of yourself, almost like in an airplane where they said put the oxygen mask on you first and then on others. And I find that having a regular me time where I'm just exhaling and slowing down is just really basically what the doctor ordered. And this can be very meditative. You can take all day long, and my husband was out of town. This was actually the perfect time for me to slow down and squeeze in a day of Anya time. Since I have so many nettles, I decided to do something with them for dinner. Here I am steaming them in my steamer basket over a pot of boiling water, and I have wooden tongs because I still can't touch them. I mean, I could use my gloves, but this is just as efficient and quickly done. They are very nutritious, full of vitamins and antioxidants and minerals. It's just one of those all-around herbs that are so good for you. And if you have nettles somewhere, I hope that you give them another chance, because so many people think of them as weeds and want to get rid of them. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, yay, where are the nettles? Yes, I want to pick them. I want to have them. I want to do something with them, which is what I decided I was going to do today. The coarser, thicker stems didn't steam up to the point where I felt like I could do something with them. And so part of slowing down is just picking the steamed leaves off of the thicker stems. Not all of the stems are really woody, just some of them, but you can feel that. And once they're steamed, you can touch them. The taste is somewhere like a spinach, maybe if you've ever had a fiddlehead fern, somewhere along those lines, a little bit more earthy, but so delicious and actually quite mild and really tasty. I mean, I'm already looking forward to my next meal with stinging nettles. They might be native in your area. It's definitely worth seeking them out. I have so much here because I think I went a little bit overboard picking and harvesting them that I am going to do two things with those nettles today. I decided I was going to make nettle spätzle, which is German tiny dumplings. I also have a recipe for you in the description box, and a nettle pesto. For that, I am toasting some pine nuts in a cast iron skillet. I always love grating fresh Parmesan cheese. It's so much better than the dried stuff from the grocery store that lacks flavor and just aroma and everything. And as you can see, I'm using the coarse side of my box grater, and it goes pretty quick. I have some garlic that I found in my refrigerator that was actually from our garden, and the cloves are really small. I have to maneuver the little cloves out of their skins, but the flavor is just so much better. So I'm gonna do that and fill up my little blender here with some garlic. And here I'm adding just some of the steamed nettles. I mostly don't cook with the recipes. I'm just going by feel a little bit. And the more often you cook, the better you get a sense of how much you might need. And I'm blending everything in this little handheld blender, giving that a shake. Then I'm adding my toasted pine nuts. They're so much more aromatic than raw pine nuts. You can also use other nuts if pine nuts are not available, or they can also be pretty pricey. And a little bit of salt always helps the flavor. And giving that another quick blend. And then a lot of good olive oil. Again, blending it up, I decided to keep it on the less oily side for tonight's meal. Let's see what it tastes like. This is fantastic. I wish I could share this with you. I wish I could just reach you a little bowl or spoonful and say, here, try it. It's so good. It is absolutely, I mean, yes, I know. Here in my Vitamix blender, I have some milk because this is what I'm going to do for the dumplings. Add the egg to it, and then almost the remaining steamed stinging nettles, a little bit of salt. I think I forgot to add the nutmeg. Nutmeg is always really good in milky, buttery recipes. Then I am adding flour. It's a runnier dough than pasta dough. And there's a traditional way of making spätzle, which is spreading the dough on a board. I'm not going to do that. But first I need to blend well, it's really more of a batter, not a dough. And I do that in my Vitamix. I might have to add a teeny bit more water to make it a little bit more runny, but basically I want to blend it. Here is my German spätzle maker. It has tiny holes, or small holes, not really tiny, and I'm pouring the batter in there, and the spätzle, the tiny dumplings, will fall through the holes. And then as you move the top part back and forth, you're basically cutting it into long strings, if that makes sense. If you are checking out my recipe below, then you'll probably get a better sense of what I'm talking about with a strainer here, I take out the cooked dumplings. They cook pretty fast, and you will know when they float to the top that they are done. And I have another cast iron skillet with some melted butter in it, and I'm adding it to that because butter makes everything better. I don't know about you, but we love cooking with butter. And I'm going to continue cooking the spätzle in batches until they're all done. And here is the final dish, the spätzle, which are like tiny little egg noodles. And I'm adding them to my plate here. And then grating some more Parmesan over it for a little bit of a color variation and some extra taste. And then I pile the stinging nettle pesto right on top. This is a very green dish, but it's also a bit of a diuretic, and it's very nourishing and so fresh and so healthy, perfect for this day. In the evening before I go to bed, I like to use the oil cleansing method. If you haven't used it, I highly encourage you to try it. It's by a company called Faithful Family Farmer, and it's specifically for oil cleansing. And all you do is you just rub it all over your face. It draws out impurities and even makeup, and it's oxygenated, which is really antibacterial and antiviral. I'll leave a link for you below if you'd like to find more about it and learn more about it. And part of this oil cleansing is using a hot washcloth. I like to add some lavender essential oil to it and then wet it with really hot water, the hottest you can stand, wringing it out right before, and then being pretty quick, I will add it to my face. I'm still wringing it out, but finding a good balance between wringing and not making sure it cools down. And then just lay it over my face to open the pores and wipe up the oil. And if you've never tried it, it leaves your skin really refreshed and silky and clean without stripped of its natural oils or harsh cleansers. This is just one of my favorite methods that I always use in the evening with a lavender essential oil. It's just very calming. And then I have another product that I like to use after the rose water that I spritz over my face. Again, I want my face just a little bit dewy, moist. And then I have this serum here, this facial serum that's also oxygenated and has jojoba oil and some essential oil. And part of my evening ritual here is to just massage it right into my moist skin that locks moisture in actually more than if you massage it into dry skin. And what I love about this face massage is that it really is that it helps sagging skin. And of course, I'm a little bit self-conscious because I am here on YouTube and you all watch me, and I'm on camera a lot, so I do care a little bit about what I look like. And this is just not only very relaxing, but also a very good self-care. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.